So what's the next one? The next one is networking, okay? Now, networking kind of dovetails in, as we talked about, with the specializing, because if you become a member of trade groups and so forth, certainly that's good, gives you an opportunity to network. But networking has some very valuable benefits to you, more than just getting clients. A lot of times when we're working for ourselves, it's kind of nice getting out and rubbing shoulders with other professionals and getting to know them and experiencing them, and also having that knowledge of what's important to them in their industry. Now, there's some groups out there that are excellent tools to network with. One of them, the one that's available to most people all over the country, is the Chambers of Commerce in their particular area. And cities both small and large have chambers. And the purpose of the chamber is to promote commerce within their area. So they do different things to promote it. And one thing that they do is typically they'll have happy hours, or they'll have gatherings that once a month they might have a little social where all the members are invited to come and network. And they promote networking because they know that that gathers and provides opportunities for businesses to improve and to grow. And so you might become a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Now, let me say this about chambers. Very often, particularly in big cities, there's a lot of members. A lot of members, thousands of members. And at these gatherings, there might be 300 or 400 or 500 different people in there. And it's easy to get lost, and so you have to force yourself. Whereas with a smaller chamber, you can get very involved. And the key to chambers is to become involved. If your purpose in becoming a member of that chamber is just to get your name on the list, and that's what they will tell you when you call them up and you say, hey, I'd like to become a member, can you tell me the advantages? They'll say, well, you'll be added to the list. You'll say, what list? Well, our directory of members. And if you're a member, if you're on our directory of members, the other members will come to you because you're on the directory of members. I will tell you this right now. I've been members of several chambers of commerce. I have yet to have a member call me up and say, I'm calling you because you're a member and so I like to do business with you, okay? Hasn't happened yet. I don't know that it will ever happen. But if you get involved with that chamber, now what that means is attend the social gatherings, okay? Look for opportunities to be on committees in the chamber so that you'll get a better relationship with the people in that committee. Look for opportunities to help chair, if you can, some of these committees. Become involved. And then the Chamber of Commerce can be a very powerful way to network. There's another group out there, and there's several of them, but there's one group in particular that I'm familiar with, and that's the Business Network International. This is a group, last time I checked, they were outside of California. They came out of California, but they have chapters all over the country and even outside of the country. What they are is they're groups of business owners, typically between 13 to 20 business professionals. Every one of those business professionals depends upon networking in order to generate leads and in order to generate sales. And in these groups they meet usually in the morning for breakfast. And there might be around the table at the restaurant 20 different professionals. Around that table, there is only one person per profession. So you might have a doctor, you might have a dentist, you might have an attorney, you might have a real estate agent, you might have an insurance agent, you might have a coffee shop owner. You could have all these different professionals, and you would be the accountant around that table. And all the professionals carry everybody else's card. Now, do you see the advantages to what I'm getting at here? See, you've got a whole sales force right there on the table. And so if the real estate agent is helping somebody move in, and this person is just relocating their business, and they need some help in getting their accounting done or their tax work done, that real estate agent is going to say, I've got just the person for you. Here's her card. And they're going to hand a card. Okay? Now, if you're then talking to your next door neighbor and the neighbor's talking about moving, of course it behooves you to do what? To say, hey, have you got a real estate agent? They say, no, not yet. You know of any good ones? Yeah. There's one that I meet with every week. I know him personally. He's a terrific guy. Here's his card. Okay? And then when you get together that next Wednesday or Thursday, whenever that morning meeting is, he's going to hand you a little sheet of paper, slip of paper saying, this is the name and the address of the person that I contacted. If they haven't contacted you, here's their phone number. Give them a call. And you're going to give them a piece of paper saying, well, here's my next door neighbor's address. They're looking for a home. Give them a call. And that's how networking works, okay, at that level. Now, downside is, might cost you $350 a year to join the group. Secondly, you've got to find a chapter that doesn't have an accountant already. Because if they've already got an accountant, they can't bring you in. Now, be aware that some accountants just practice tax, just prepare taxes, and might not do bookkeeping. And so if you run into a chapter that has an accountant like that, you come in as a bookkeeping accountant. You fill that need. As long as you're not crossing over onto the tax preparation side, they're going to be happy with it. And they will give you leads, and you'll, of course, provide them leads. And so it works out very, very advantageously for both of you. So these networking groups can be terrific groups to become a member of and can result in a lot of clients. Now, also, the first two, Chamber of Commerce and Business Network International, all have fees that go with them, annual fees. But the third one, you can also volunteer for different groups. And you might volunteer in the PTA. You could become involved in your church. You could be involved in trade organizations, as we mentioned a moment ago, with specialization. Or you might even choose to become involved in your homeowners organization. Just simply emphasize your accounting abilities when you become involved in volunteering. You know, if you're involved in your church, see if you can take care of their accounting. Volunteer to help them with their accounting. Now, why is that an advantage? Everybody in that church group that knows that you're doing their accounting is a potential client if they happen to own a business, right? Because you happen to be the expert. So it gives you an opportunity to network through volunteering. Plus, it gives a terrific service to an organization that probably seriously needs the help that you can provide. Okay? Now, there's a process that goes on involved in this. Anytime you have an opportunity and you're in a group of people, you want to take advantage of that opportunity. And there's some little tricks of the trade that you should be aware of when you're working these networking, or working the group is oftentimes what salespeople call it. And they're all doing it, okay? This is no secret. When you're in that group, you are in there with a whole bunch of other people that are in there for the same reason, to promote their business and to trade business. And those that have been in there the longest are usually the best at it. Not necessarily because they're promoting their business so effectively, but they know how to promote your business. You know, I've learned in being involved in these networking groups that I can be most successful if I am willing to help others. Because if for instance, I was a member of one of the networking organizations for several years, and I will tell you right now, it was very effective time spent, very valuable time spent, and enjoyable at the same time. I've still got relationships, friendships out of that group. In fact, I just bought a home using the real estate agent from that group. So I happen to keep close contacts with those people and know more about their business simply because of those morning meetings. But I have learned in watching these people that we're all trying to accomplish the same thing. And I know that if I share a lead with somebody else, they're more likely to share a lead with me. Okay? If I don't look for opportunities to help somebody else, they're not going to look for opportunities to help me. So I look for opportunities to help others, and I know it's going to come back to me. Okay? So look for ways to do it. Make sure that whenever you go into one of these networking opportunities, arrive a little bit early, okay? Especially if there's a formal, structured meeting going on. If it's just a social, maybe it's not as important. But if there is a meeting going on, you want to arrive a few minutes early for an opportunity to meet the people as they come in. You don't have to plan on standing. In fact, you don't want to stay with them for a long time. You want to kind of move around a little bit. But all you got to do is go in, always have business cards, right? Okay? Hand everyone that you meet, hand them a business card for a couple reasons. One, it gives them something to hold on to and remember you by. But secondly, it will help them remember your name, okay, and what you do. So always hand them a business card. Shake their hand. Introduce yourself very briefly. Ask for their card back, okay? Ask for their card, again, for the same reasons. You want to remember them. You want to be able to remember their name. You don't want to be sitting there and thinking, what was that guy's name was? Because you might get to know them a lot. Learn about them. Look for opportunities to ask them questions, okay? But then always look for opportunities to move around the room too. So you want to learn about them briefly, and then you want to move on. Don't land on one person. The reason why is because it will be more effective for you if you move around. And secondly, a good networker knows they need to move around too. So you don't want to keep them too long. They want to move around and meet the other people as well. Networking is a process of getting to know each other, okay? Now, once you finish talking with the person, just write a little note on the back of the card. Just something to remember them by, okay? You know, if you had something in common with them, you knew somebody in common, you happen to find out they work for a certain company, you ask them, did they know Tim Smith? And they said yes, and just, you know, friend of Tim Smith's or something like that. Just something to remember them by, and then review that after the little gathering and just remember the people you met so that you'll have an opportunity to follow up with them if necessary, okay? But then recognize, too, that networking takes time, okay? It does. You got to be patient, and it will happen. Now, if you go out and aggressively network, such as joining Business Network International, it could, or Chamber of Commerce, it could result in clients within weeks, within a week, possibly. Recognize that the opportunities there, networking can be valuable. Now, one other thing I want to point out, and that's what we call the 30-second commercial. The 30-second commercial needs to contain certain things. And what the 30-second commercial is, an opportunity to quickly tell somebody what you do. Remember, these people are trying to move around too, and they don't have time for a 20-minute diatribe when they ask you, what do you do, okay? They're not looking for that. And you'll know that's happened when they're sitting there with their arms crossed and they're kind of waving back and forth like this. You know you've spent too much time. You need to be in a position where you can answer that question in 30 seconds, okay? For them and for you. So, there's a 30-second commercial. And this is a script that you can actually write up and memorize if you want to. We got a sample that says, I'm the owner of blank, right? Okay? Just telling the name of your company, a bookkeeping service right here in, and name your city, okay? Now, having been in business for several years or 3 years or 5 years, and of course, right now, if you're just getting started, you can't say 3 days, okay? That's not as effective. So you might say, I've been in the accounting industry for so many years, okay? Just that will help, won't it, okay? Or else you can just say, I've been here in this town for 10 years or whatever it needs. I've been helping business owners reduce their taxes, improve their profits, and manage their cash flow better. For instance, just recently and then you tell your own success story, okay? Personalize it in 20 seconds and you got her done. There's your 30-second commercial, okay? Just got to come up with something that you can say very briefly, memorize that so you can go through it, you can say it naturally. You don't want to look at a cue card, okay? You got to be able to say it naturally, but in just a matter of 30 seconds, you want to be able to tell them everything about your business that they need to know. Now, most of them are not going to say, well, I need an accountant right now. But at least they know enough about you to know what you do so that if they do need an accountant or know somebody that does, they can come back to you later, okay?